Alright, let's get started. So, this episode, I'm gonna start off with saying that this episode was nice. I do have problems with this episode, but last time I was kind of overly critical over what I thought this episode would end up being, specifically with Jean, reacting to Oscar. It wasn't nearly that bad. So let's just get into this. These two guards at Atlas are, they confused me at first. They're really cartoony, overly stretchy cartoony. And it's not bad, it's just kind of really jarring. RWBY, they've done cartoony things like this before. Like, thinking back to Volume 1, when Weiss falls from the sky and Jean catches her, and then they, realize they're in midair, and then they blink and they fall. It's very Looney Tunes, how that turns out. So RWBY isn't completely disconnected from a more cartoony style. It's just, we haven't seen it in a long time. Like, the most goofy, cartoony, wacky physics thing I can think of that has happened recently was when RWBY found the beans, and she, zipped past Weiss in the cellar to grab the canned food. And it's pretty subtle things like that, but these two guard characters are, over the top cartoony. All of this whole little section really is. And it's not bad, it just took me a second to kind of, get used to it. And once I did, I did find it funny. It was a pretty fun little scene right here. This was actually a really funny episode, the more I think about it. Rewatching it for this reaction, specifically it's Maria and, I don't remember her name, the Atlas lady, General, that whole part, really. Maria in general, also beforehand, with her very well-delivered line of,
"Maybe she's dead."
I do wish her reasoning for hating each other was more than just bringing outside cashews on a flight. Yeah, it's funny how menial it is, and how it's escalated to their rivalry, but maybe something just maybe a tiny bit more serious. I really love the introduction of Caroline. That's her name, I just found that out. Caroline. She's a fun kind of antagonist figure, similar to Jacques or Whitley, where you're not gonna fight her, like how you fight Cinder and Neo. She's more like a personal character you need to get over. And she is fun. This whole scene is goofy and playing up. She reminds me of Team Rocket a little bit. Her and her crew she has behind her. My friends pointed out to me that she's the woman in the shoe, that fairy tale. She's the old woman, and then the guards are Boots. Get it? I was watching the RWBY episode, and apparently a bunch of people thought that the general was going to be Winter, and that never even crossed my mind, at all. I didn't even think about that. And maybe because I don't love Winter as much as most other people do. She's not a bad character. She showed up for 2 episodes in Volume 3. She wasn't that important to me. We get to see more subtle racism towards the Faunus. Yeah, it's bad. Racism is bad. But I like seeing it because it does bring home the part that the Faunus are, in fact, discriminated against. I wish it wasn't always just Atlas people, though, or villains. What if Terra was also kind of I'm not really too into you. Just a thing, a cultural thing. Terra's not a bad person. She just has been raised here and has the same ideals as them. But, I get that Crowe's drinking is, an escalating, character plot point for him throughout this volume. And, I'm not happy with it. That's the point. I'm not supposed to be happy with it. I wish, A, he wasn't such a cocklord about it. That's your fucking niece that you love more than everything. Maybe you could, talk to her or look her in the eye every now and then, or whatever. And B, I wish it was hinted at a bit better, because I mentioned before, his drinking was always used for comedy. I wish people worried more about his drinking beforehand, so now this wouldn't feel so out of place. Because throughout all of volumes 4 and 5, Crowe was very level-headed and very, he was on top of things. He didn't even, he might have drank from his flask every now and then, and we see him, at the bar when he meets up with Oscar, but he's not drunk. The only time he did get drunk was that funny moment when he brings Oscar back to the kids. So, I don't know. I'm not unhappy with this choice to take the character. I just wish it had been set up better beforehand. Why are all the kids, confused about what they're supposed to be doing now? You're on the ocean. Just boat away. Steal a boat. You guys, that doesn't seem above something Nora would do. Steal a boat. Make, an ice glyph boat thing with magic. I don't know, do something. I feel like there are more options than the options that they're trying to take. But maybe there's more like world lore stuff that I've forgotten or something like that. Okay, so the Jean being mad at Oscar thing. Last time I did hype it up a lot, that I was really not looking forward to it. And it wasn't as bad as I thought, but alright, so why does Jean punch a wall? Like Nora and Ren are also pissed off, but Jean's the only one who does like overacts of being upset. Punching a wall, he grabs Oscar and slams him into a wall. Like, I understand you're pissed off, but he never keeps a level head. That's the problem. But to be fair, yes, it wasn't nearly as bad as I was expecting. I was expecting his giant screaming, crying fit, like, during the during the attack on Haven. So yeah, it wasn't as bad. I was talking to my friends, and something they brought up that I really enjoyed was the idea that not everyone was always just pissed off. Because, like, Jean got pissed off, and Nora and Ren are both pissed off. And what if someone just wasn't angry at Oscar? What if that was the thing? Like, everyone just has the same level of angry right now. Like, you might have forgotten, but, like, the RWBY crew were also pissed off about this. They just couldn't dwell on it because they were stranded in the middle of a snowstorm, and Maria had to convince everyone to go to safety. So everyone's just mad at Oscar, and that's fine, that's a justifiable thing, but maybe not everyone was mad. Like, maybe defeated or apathetic. Like, what if, like, Ren was like, yeah, guys, it sucks and it's shitty, but what other options do we have? Rather than just being pissed off. That would be a bit more interesting, I think. And I knew it was going to be, like, a really long shot, but I'm really upset that we didn't get, like, Nora or any of the other characters standing up for Oscar and being on his side throughout all of this. And they keep talking about everything's pointless because they can't kill Salem. Maybe try thinking of a not death-related way of killing her. Stopping her. Changing her. Something. Also, Jin only said that Ozpin can't kill her. She didn't say everyone can. Maybe that's just like me trying to find, because genies and wishes are often associated with, like, a catch. Like, kind of like the story of the monkey's paw. There's always something that you didn't word right that's a catch in there. And I'm thinking that's what this is, but maybe, yeah, she just can't be killed. But whatever. Peace is an option, guys. Yeah, Jean does have his big freak-out moment against Oscar right here, but at least it's treated with negative reactions. Like, everyone else is pissed off at him for acting like that. Rather than, I keep referring to the attack on Haven because that is the actual worst episode of this whole series, and will continue to be the worst episode, hopefully. But yeah, during that moment where he freaked out, everyone else started getting their weapons ready, like, just backing him up, rather than, like, standing with Crowe, who's trying to tell everyone to calm down and not have a panic attack in front of the bad guys. So yeah, I'm glad this scene, everyone was pissed off at Jean for acting the way he did. He does bring up an important thing, though. He does bring up, like, did Oscar know? What all did Ozpin tell him while he's been in his head? I didn't think Oscar knew anything about it, because he seemed just as surprised as them, but I wonder if there is something that he knows that he's not letting on to. But from the character that Oscar has portrayed so far, he doesn't seem like he'd maliciously hold back information from everyone. Alright, so this little outside porch thing that RWBY and Maria have their conversation at is probably the single-handedly most beautiful set piece they've ever had in the show. Like, there's so much effort put in here, and it's good, but I would expect, like, this kind of level of effort, like their bedroom back in volumes 1 through 3. That had a lot of effort, and it had a lot of character, but that was also a reoccurring place that they would go to frequently. I don't know how much time we're going to spend in this backyard, but they poured, like, all this heart and soul into designing it, and then animating it and making it come to life, and it's so pretty. And seeing the concept art during the credits of how it was supposed to look, they nailed it. It's so good, and I love seeing this extra level of effort put into here. I feel like if this conversation happened during volumes 4 or 5, maybe even before then it would have been just inside a room. Just a very simple, easy to animate room, maybe just a chair, a bed, maybe a rug. Maybe less effort than that. RWBY and Oscar had a conversation in their training room, so it was just a big empty space with a couple of spare swords over to the side. I love seeing the animators and the crew putting extra effort into these little things, because in the long run, they aren't little things. these little things add up to a lot of very big things and a lot of important things. It is so nice to finally, for Ruby to address her silver eyes and learn something about it. One of my sisters mentioned that she was upset that Maria had to address it first, not Ruby. But I think that Ruby's too busy thinking about Oscar and everything and trying to figure out what their next plan should be. That probably just didn't cross her mind. Because she did ask Maria to tell her about it beforehand, right before they made it to Argus on the flatbed. And this is lore that we've been waiting for a long time. And I love finally getting to it, but I wish we would have gotten to it sooner. Like, yeah, she didn't really have people she could talk about it, but remember, all of Volume 5, she had a perfectly healthy Crowe and Ozpin right there next to her, and so she could talk to them about this kind of thing. So, fine, I'm just glad that we're finally getting to her silver eyes. And to be fair, we don't really learn too much more about it. It's mostly just a confirmation that it only affects Grimm, and Maria kind of knows how to help Ruby figure out how to activate it whenever she needs to. A lot of it's more just like superfluous lore stuff, which is fine, because we need these kind of things to flesh out the world. Maria does bring up an important thing, though, that I never thought about. If Silver Eyes is such an important and powerful trait, why did that not become more dominant? Why is it so rare and unheard of? Because if you know anything about how nature works, the dominant thing that helps you live better is going to be the thing that gets passed down to your children and then will become the dominant trait of the species to help them survive. I mean, and it's hereditary, clearly. Both Ruby's mother had it and Maria's father had it, so why has it not become more dominant than it is? Ruby blames Salem, but why would Salem go through all that effort to kill them all out? Maria says her semblance is reflexes, and I would like to go back and check on her fight where we see her lose her eyes to see how much that semblance comes into play. I don't know how clear it would be, because there are lots of times where characters seemingly just know what strike is going to hit them before it ends up hitting them, kind of thing. And that's just like how the animation works. It's not always a bad thing, but it's just, I don't think it'd be as clear as maybe they wanted it to be. Oh, I just noticed, if you pay attention to the music in the background when Maria's talking about how to unlock it, it's like an acoustic version of the Red Like Roses theme from the Red trailer, and that's really nice, and the music in this volume is really good. So my overall thoughts of this episode is, and it's kind of boring. I mean, not much really interesting happened this episode. Going back through, it's 18 minutes long, give or take the 900 Genlock ads in the beginning. Nothing really happened. I felt like it was kind of stretched out, and not necessarily for the right reasons. Like, the important things is they met the Atlas General. Jean got mad at Oscar, and then Maria and Ruby talked. And those things are fine, it's just, Maria and Ruby talking takes a long time. And once you get to the end of the conversation, you learn a little bit more, but there's also a lot of stuff that you didn't really need to know. And watching it the first time, it was fine because we're absorbing new information, and it was information that we've wanted to learn for a long time. Upon a rewatch, it's super boring. Like, it's really dull. They do the best they can. Like, they move the camera, characters move around a bit. We focus on like butterflies and lemons and whatever, but it's still just two people talking to each other. Talking head scenes are gonna be boring, and this is a long one. And it's the same problem that with any kind of exposition scene, is that on a rewatch it's going to be really boring. And especially when it's as much information as we're trying to get right now. Like Crowe's two brother story, back when they were around the campfire in Volume 4, it's fine during a first watch. Every time you go back and rewatch, like, I'm marathoning the series or watching the movie or whatever, every time I get to that scene, I just kind of black out, or I go to the bathroom, because I know it already, nothing new is being presented, and it is boring on a rewatch, and that's what's happening here, and Volume 6 has done a good job avoiding really big exposition scenes like this so far, and I knew it was going to happen eventually, and this is it, and at least it's something that I actually wanted to learn about. I've wanted to learn about Silver Eyes since Ozpin mentioned them in the first episode of Volume 1, so it is something I wanted to know, but that is just boring. And it's a lot of just talking between people. I mean, it can't all be action and stuff, but with the Bartleby estate, they brought up a scenario. There was a situation. There was the horror vibe. They were cold. They had to find food. There were little things with the characters that they had to overcome. And on top of that, we were also getting really compelling character interactions, like Blake and Yang having issues, and Ruby and Weiss having fun together again. And so far, the Argus arc, as I'm calling it, not much of that is going on. Once again, the really big cast and trying to move the story forward at the same time is limiting its potential. Yeah, seeing Maria and Cordo, it was funny, but then Cordo kind of just goes on this giant Atlas tangent, and after that, like, it gets kind of boring again. It's just a lot of talking. It's just kind of a boring little episode. Nothing much here that I really want to come back to. Like, yeah, it looks pretty, and with silver eyes, but meh. We finally got, like, a little mini plot for this little arc that we're doing. Oscar is gone, but I wish it would have happened a bit faster. I don't know. It was just kind of a boring episode. I'm excited to see the kids try to find Oscar and resolve these problems, but Volume 6 has been doing better beforehand. This is a bit of a lull in the volume, I'm gonna say. My prediction is that Juniper is gonna go and they're gonna find him, and Jean will be able to apologize and make amends with Oscar. I have no predictions as to what's gonna happen after that. I don't know if they're gonna get to Atlas, and how if they do. So if you liked my review, go ahead and do me a favor and please leave a like and a comment, and maybe even subscribe if you want. If you're gonna comment, tell me what you thought of the episode. Did you think it was funny? Did you think it was gonna be winter? Why did you want it to be winter? And tell me more why you like winter, because I don't get it. Alright, I guess that's it, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.